Happy Saturday. It's February 3rd, the first Saturday of the month. I'm Kimberly Pro, and thanks for joining Wasatch Weekends. On today's episode, Ross and I get into the kitchen, but no, we don't cook anything. We work on our snowboard bindings. He gives me a little bit of advice on what kind of stance to set up for my preferred riding. Plus, Bosco. That is a new film, and Kevin had a conversation with the cast. I also chatted with certified holistic nutritionist Laura Heflin, plus our furry favorite friends, Nuzzles and Co., joining us all in today's episode. But before we get started, let's take a look at today's weather. Conversation with Josh from Nuzzles and Co. earlier in the week, and he's got a super cute furry friend, Elijah, joining him. Let's take a look. Now, everybody loves a furry friend, especially the furry friends from Nuzzles and Co. Joining me today is Josh from over there, plus Elijah. Cannot wait to see Elijah and all that he is. Look at that cute little pup. Although I guess he's not very little, is he?
He's not a little guy.
Well, Josh,
I would call him a medium to large dog, probably close to 60 pounds.
Well, he just has such a sweet temperament. But Josh, great to see you. So tell me all about Elijah and how he came to you at Nuzzles & Co.
So we have our res rescue program that we talk about a lot. Elijah was dropped off at our facility down there. He actually kind of saved himself. He was in bad shape. He had a very large tumor in one of his testicles. He was never fixed. He's about 6 years old, if I didn't say that already. A truck driver had pulled over and had his door open, and Elijah was like, I need help, so I'm jumping in your truck, and we're going to figure this out. So he dove in the truck, and the truck driver came to our facility down on the Navajo reservation, and he ended up at our center and then came to Salt Lake. So he actually was part of a rescue mission that I did back in October when the eclipse was happening, and he was down there at that time. So he's come to the ranch and had his medical assessment. They gave him surgery, and we discovered that the tumor was benign. So that's all taken care of, and he's in full recovery. And just a healthy guy who's really happy and loves people.
He definitely seems like such a happy pup. The way that he just gave you those kisses was so sweet, and his temperament is so gentle right now. So talk to me a little bit about Elijah. Like, how is he around families? What is he like?
So he's actually great with families. We had a foster family who we have some wonderful fosters who will just say, like, let's give a dog a break from the ranch and get him out and show him what real life is like in a house. So we had a foster family do that with Elijah recently, and it was I believe there was a couple kids, mom and dad, and he just took right to the family. He was hanging out on the couch with them. The mom said that he was sort of like a shadow for her. He would follow her around the house, want to be around people, but wasn't intrusive in any way. Just more like, hey, I want to hang out with you guys.
He loves being around people. You can see how expressive he is. His eyes are, I love the coloring of his face, with his eyes just kind of popping out and his eyebrows raising and his ears raising. He's so cute. He's so cute.
He's a very, very handsome boy. He knows how to sit. He does pull a little bit on the leash, but he does pretty well on the leash, actually. I think he would make a great family dog, and just a really sweet guy.
Look at how sweet he is. Hi, Elijah. That's great. So you mentioned he may pull a little bit on the leash, but that's probably just due to the fact that, he grew up on a reservation and is just used to running and having fun, having freedom. So how is he around other dogs?
He does great. We have play groups with him at the ranch, and he just has a blast with everybody. So he's a pretty awesome dog. I was mentioning to you earlier before we jumped on the air, like there's some adult dogs we get that I wonder why they're still here after a few weeks. And he's one of those dogs where I think he's a handsome boy. I think he's a good boy, very treat motivated, which is good for training. So I think some of his pulling and other habits would be really easily corrected.
That's great. And look at how sweet he is. You can see he's like, oh, treats, love them. That's great.
Yeah,
So,
he thinks they're pretty great.
so talk to me about where we can go to hang out with Elijah, to adopt him, to learn more about him.
So he sometimes goes to our adoption center and sometimes is at the ranch. So I would say give us a ring at either of our locations and just find out where he is for the day. I recommend coming to meet him in person because he's just such a delight to be around. And I think that's a lot of people will come in with a certain mindset of like, hey, I saw this dog on your website. And then another dog will speak to them when they're in the room.
Uh-huh.
And I think Elijah is one of those dogs who will just capture someone's heart and go home with them. You can go to our website, nuzzlesandco.org, and you can see all our adoptable animals and read Elijah's bio, see some of the fun pictures we have of him.
Oh, when you look at those eyes, how can you say no?
That's what I said. Like, I really don't know why he's here. He's such an amazing dog.
You know, personally, I think I would prefer to adopt a dog like him versus a puppy because he seems to be very well trained already, and you know, not much more is going to make him just the perfect companion. Does he like adventures?
He does like adventures. Yeah, I pulled out a leash to get him out of his kennel to come up to my office for this interview, and he saw the leash and was just wagging his tail, little butt wiggle, like, hey, it's time for an adventure. Let's do this.
That's great. So, Josh, tell me, what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have as well?
So, volunteer opportunities, come to the ranch. You can walk dogs. You can pet cats, brush cats. You can help us do laundry. In the summertime, you can help us with gardening and just all the fun stuff that we do at the ranch. The adoption center, similarly, you can walk dogs. You can spend time with cats. We actually have some people who like just do office work on their computer or read books in the cat areas. And that is sort of letting a cat know what it's like to be around people on a regular basis. So that's pretty great. And then if you have like corporate volunteer groups, we'll have big groups that come out, or even just big families who will give us a ring and say, hey, we want to bring like 15 people out on a Saturday and walk dogs. And we try to turn that into a pretty special experience. Walk the dogs and maybe even finish it with a big puppy snuggle fest.
Who doesn't love a puppy snuggle fest? Well, I'd love to snuggle Elijah. He's just such a sweet puppy. Look at his eyes and his ears, and just he just seems so sweet and such a good boy. It looks like he loves the pets, that's for sure.
Yeah, he really does love people and the affection. Like I said, he saved himself. He was like, I don't like this situation. I'm going to improve my life. He did that.
That's great. Well, Josh, great to see you. We loved meeting Elijah. He's such a sweet puppy. You can just tell he wants to be in a good home. So hopefully he gets adopted this weekend. Fingers crossed.
So too.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. See you next time, Josh. Thanks for joining Nuzzles & Co. The work that you do is just wonderful, and all of the pets that you bring onto the show and more are just snuggly little furry friends. So hopefully they all go to good homes soon. Thanks so much. Health is wealth, and I had a conversation with certified holistic nutritionist Laura Heflin about how you can heal your body from the inside out. Let's take a look at that conversation from earlier this week. You know, health is so important, including so many different ways to take care of it. And that's from an internal perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from a mental perspective, and from a physical perspective. Joining me today on the couch is certified holistic nutritionist Laura Heflin, who's here to share all about the things that she does, plus to give a little bit of insight to her own story. Laura, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. So very exciting stuff. You are an author, a podcast host, plus you also create recipes and coach people through their holistic health journey. So tell me about how you got started.
Wow, my journey started way back at the age of 19. I was battling an eating disorder, and I found myself actually at one point quite sick. So I had put my body through a lot of havoc, a lot of deprivation, a lot of over-exercising. Honestly, at the time, it wasn't anything to do with my health. It was strictly about the number on the scale. So over time, my body started rebelling, and I started having really nasty symptoms. You know, I had my hair thinning, I had joint pain, I was covered in psoriasis, crazy hormonal imbalances. And it was really the point in my life when I realized that if I kept going that direction, I was going to spiral and get to a place where I couldn't show up for my life. So I knew at the time I had to make a choice to continue spiraling or turn the other way. I didn't know where to turn though, and so I think, like many of us, I went on over to Dr. Google, and
Dr. Google, it's so true.
And I really remember the day I typed in the phrase or the question, what does a woman need to eat in order to thrive, in order to be healthy? And again, I didn't know where to turn, so Google was my answer at the time. And over time, as I was researching, and ironically, since I wasn't researching dieting or losing weight, I was researching health, what kept coming back to me was the medicinal powers behind eating real whole foods, like our ancestors used to eat, from nature. And I think in our culture, we've just overcomplicated it so much. And I found it intriguing, like that these foods I was being told they could heal me. So I had nowhere else to turn. And so that's what I did. I started slowly but surely incorporating these real whole foods into my diet. And after a few months, I started noticing my hair got thicker, my energy returned, my hormones balanced. And it was that moment that really my epiphany was that time in my life where I found healing through whole foods. And it was simple. And my husband was watching this on the sidelines, and he said, you are so passionate about this. You're in the kitchen, you're making recipes, you're so fired up about life, and you're so healthy now. Why don't you go get certified and help someone else?
That's great.
That's really my backstory.
Well, you said people overcomplicate it, and that is the absolute truth. And especially for, listening to your story, how young you were going through those things, and how we just make things so hard as a society to be healthy, and you got to do X, Y, Z, and this and that. We're not meant to make things too complicated.
And I think if it's not complicated enough, we think we've got it wrong.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. So talk to me a little bit about how you help patients. How many patients have you helped? You've been doing this for over 13 years now. Yeah. So tell me about it.
So, wow, thousands of clients, honestly, at this point, and from all different walks of life. I mean, I've worked with teen girls up to 80-year-old clients as well. And I love my job because we're all on a different journey, but there is a way that we can cultivate health. And sometimes you just need the guidance. You just need someone to sit with you and say, hey, I can help you. I can make this applicable to your life. Let's come up with a meal plan. Let's ask your body questions and see what food your body's asking for, because we're not all the same. And that's, again, one thing with our dieting culture. We throw everyone into one big bucket where really, we need to tune into our bodies and ask questions.
It's true. It's so important. Now, I was kind of reading through some of your principles, and you do a lot on intuitive eating. Can you give me a little bit of explanation around what that is?
Absolutely. And that was a huge part of my healing journey. So asking our body questions, what you might be able to eat, my body might not be able to handle, and vice versa. And I think we have become so tuned out to our bodies in our culture that we're almost waiting for a diet trend or someone else to tell us what to do. But what we've lost the art of doing is asking our body questions. What is my body speaking to me and saying it needs? If I'm craving a sweet potato, there's probably something in that sweet potato my body's craving and needing. And we need to throw out the macros. We need to throw out the points, throw out this idea that any food group is bad or harmful. We just need to focus on eating the right forms and asking daily, like, what is my body craving? What is it needing? And the more we do that, it's beautiful to see that we can all heal. We can reach optimal health.
That's great. So you're an author, but you most recently have started a podcast. So you've got over 70 episodes of it. So tell me about your podcast.
Well, just recorded episode 82 last week. Very excited. So I call it my third baby, and it's my most recent project. It's 18 months old, and it's the Live Healthy with Laura podcast. You can find it on Apple, Anchor, Spotify, and really, my podcast is for everyone. I have to say, it's for the busy CEO. It's for the busy working mom that's driving to and from soccer practice, that's just looking for a way to, plug in for a few minutes a week and just gain some tools, some tips, some tricks on how to better care for their bodies. And again, I try to keep, it's so complicated in our culture. I try to simplify it, and so people can say, "Wow, I could do that. I could do that. I could pick up on this." Also, I have some amazing guests, but yeah, I really try to just reach everyone in a different way. Every episode, I think, can offer everyone something, and yeah. So
I love that. So you've got 82 episodes
Yeah.
now. That's great.
Yeah, it's not aired yet, but yes, I recorded that.
Well, can't wait to hear that, and it drops weekly, right?
Yeah, every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It would be 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I really, truly love it. It's my passion. It's my project. I love, when I've written my books, I've loved writing, but I love that I get to speak honestly and openly about whatever I'm passionate about. It's really an amazing platform. I'm very grateful.
That's true. Well, so not only are you focusing on the nutrition piece of it, but you've written 3 books. I'm so excited. Live Healthy with Laura. That's got 10 lifestyle principles, 30 recipes, which I'm very excited about because we're hopping in the kitchen shortly.
Excited.
And then you've got a couple of others on mental health as well as specifically focused on mothers. So, you love to write. What made you inspired to write these 3 books?
Probably the same mission behind my podcast. I just think that our culture has taught us that we have to accept a way of life that I don't believe we have to accept. I don't believe that we need to accept feeling okay, or I don't believe we need to accept pain or depression or inflammation or gut issues. I think that through all of these books and my podcast, I really just want to empower the audience to ask questions, to push back in our culture, in a culture that's told us to lay flat and accept a diagnosis or accept a way of life. I really want everyone to know they're allowed to ask questions, and they're allowed to ask the question why. So with mental health, with postpartum depression, with joint pain, right? Whatever it is. For instance, we can ask the question why as, one example would be like, I have this joint pain, right? But I want to know why. What is the root cause of my joint pain, of my postpartum depression, of whatever I'm dealing with? And what is the root cause? What can I do? What is my body lacking that it needs right now that I can give it in order to help it thrive, in order to help it recalibrate? And again, I think that if we can just ask those questions and get to the root cause, which is what Eastern medicine and the holistic world believes, that there's a root cause, we can find healing and we all can thrive. And we all deserve to live a full life.
Well, it's true. And holistic nutrition, I think, is the best way to say it. But you're a holistic health coach. It was how I would love to say it.
Yeah.
And it is all interconnected from a mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. So very exciting. I'm so excited to get into the kitchen with you after the commercial break, because we are going to do one of the great recipes from your Live Healthy with Laura cookbook.
All whole food based and chocolate for any chocolate lovers out there.
I love chocolate, so I can't wait. Now stay tuned. We are going to hop in the kitchen after this commercial break, and we'll be right back. Not only is Laura a holistic nutritionist, but she's also an author and a podcast host. We got into the kitchen and made one of her delicious recipes from her cookbook. Let's take a look at that. And we just had a very informative segment right before the commercial break with Laura Heflin, certified nutritionist. So very exciting. She's got a cookbook called Live Healthy with Laura, and we are making the chocolate avocado mousse from her book.
Yes.
So can't wait. Kevin and I are usually in the kitchen.
I know, making a
sharing
mess. Just it's a disaster, but we've got a professional.
We do. We've got Laura here to show us this awesome avocado chocolate mousse. So
yes.
very
Okay.
exciting.
So the ingredients are simple. That's the beauty of this recipe and all my recipes. They're whole food based. We don't count calories. We're not counting points. We're just eating real food like our ancestors used to eat, right? So we're going to start with...
I had horrible ancestors. They did not eat good at all. So this right here, going deep with me.
Do you want to be the avocado?
I'm the avocado guy.
Avocado.
Okay.
So this is great. You can literally all you need is a blender.
Yes, it's 6 ingredients. So this is, in a sense, if you love chocolate pudding, this is chocolate pudding. My kids love this. We love this. I actually created this recipe when I was pregnant with my son. And so just to go through the ingredients real quick, we have avocados, which are an amazing source of monounsaturated fat. Fats are so healthy for us, and we need to not shy away from them. Then we've got our cinnamon here, and this is incredible for diabetics. This actually stabilizes their blood sugar. Just fun fact, any recipe that you sprinkle cinnamon on will lower the glycemic index of that recipe or that whatever you're making, whatever dessert. So that's incredible, and it's loaded with fiber. This is monk fruit. This is a fruit in Asia, and this is basically it's a 0-calorie sweetener, and it's all natural, and so it's also amazing for diabetics. We got bananas, like I said, cacao. And cacao, for those that don't know, is not cocoa powder. So this is cacao. This is the raw cocoa bean. Has 40 times the antioxidants of blueberries. And it's loaded with fiber. And and so it's great. It boosts your iron.
So
Tastes wonderful too.
Yeah.
It does. So are you telling me I don't need to eat blueberries and I can just eat cacao powder? I love chocolate.
If you want, you can load up on this. I do. I have this in all kinds of recipes. Okay, so we got the avocado. You did great. Thank you.
Did I?
You
Kevin
did great.
is the expert avocado. He's the expert chopper on the
No.
show.
I'm gonna put you to work.
Okay, I got all these.
So I'm gonna. All right, and then do you want to dump?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm gonna peel.
This is so much fun. Usually I'm the one telling people what to do in the kitchen. So I love that I am the one being told what to do this time.
So it's simple. And bananas. I forgot about the bananas. Bananas are a great source of potassium. They also boost our serotonin. So winter blues, no more.
No more.
I'm gonna just
Right
dump
there,
it
there
in.
we go.
Be happy.
As you see,
Eat a banana.
That is so
you do
easy.
not have to have confidence in the kitchen to do this recipe. You can do it with your 4-year-old. It is so easy. And like I said, it tastes really, really good. And it goes in the fridge. It can be chilled for up to a week.
Okay.
So, whoop. Okay,
That's great. So it lasts for about a week.
It lasts for about a week.
Got it.
You can have it as a snack. You can have it for breakfast with a cup of coffee. It is fantastic for you.
Well, you know, we haven't had breakfast yet on the show, so
Yep.
I'm pretty sure this is breakfast.
You've not had breakfast. Well, we're going to talk after this episode, okay?
Uh-oh, you just set
I
yourself
think I
up,
just got in
Kim.
trouble.
Yeah.
You've not had breakfast either?
Yes, I did. I just don't want to get the lecture.
Kevin, we can't talk about our habits.
No.
Our morning
Okay.
habits. Great.
So,
Got it in
all
there.
right.
Awesome.
And sometimes we get the seeds in there, and it is what it is.
Hey, it's all natural.
It's all fiber.
All
Yeah.
fiber.
Yeah. But I created this recipe years ago just because who doesn't love pudding in a cup, right?
I love pudding in a cup.
Yeah, and I have had a lot of clients say, well, I don't like avocados, Laura, so how would I don't know if I want to make this recipe. Here's the fun part. You don't taste the avocados.
Good.
You don't taste them. I promise you don't.
What about the banana? Can you taste the banana in the recipe?
Oh, no. Do you not like banana?
She loves it.
You
She
know,
loves
I don't
banana.
mind it.
She's like a monkey.
It's not my preferred fruit.
Okay, so I think you can taste it a little bit, but it's not overpowering. I would say, and just for you,
Yeah.
we're gonna add more cacao to this recipe, so
I
you
said that
don't,
intentionally.
so you don't taste it as much, okay? And again, I think one reason people avoid the kitchen is they're just intimidated. They don't
true.
think that they know what to do, and it's again comes down to simple ingredients. Did we do 3 bananas? Or
We did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We got an extra one.
Great.
And all right, now we're gonna do
Save that
cacao.
for Kim.
Oh, what am I doing? Can you actually? I should have all my recipes memorized, but I have too many.
Yes.
Can you? We're gonna go on. Okay, over to page, and you can get all my books wherever books are sold. But this
So
guy,
Amazon,
Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Right there.
page 103. We got the avocado mousse. Okay, and so we did the 3 bananas, 3 avocados. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon.
Awesome.
Okay, and again, this is amazing to lower the glycemic index of any meal, any recipe. Let's see, that's 1/4 teaspoon.
Laura, as I look through all the recipes in this book, it's all just natural, whole foods.
Yeah, you're not going to
Amazing.
find calories. I won't tell you the calories because I don't know the calories
love
of my own
that.
recipes. We're just eating real whole foods. And we're not, the thing with calories, you guys, is it's not a math equation, it's a chemistry equation.
Okay.
So for instance, if we were to have the same amount of calories in potato chips, our body would completely treat this recipe or treat those calories from the potato chips differently. Our body can use this. It can utilize it and lose it. And this keeps us feeling amazing, right? It does so much for our body. And so we're boosting our antioxidants, we're boosting our energy. And now we can do that, or it doesn't matter, whatever.
Whatever you want.
So the order really doesn't matter.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think we're at...
Kevin's so excited.
Sorry,
I
you
can
wanna-
smell the cinnamon coming
Yeah.
from this
Oh, no,
blender
do you
right
not
now.
like cinnamon?
No, I love
Okay.
cinnamon. So
Okay.
you mentioned it
So we
earlier.
have 1/3
One-third cup of coconut milk.
Yep.
So all my recipes are dairy-free, minus like 2 of them. 2 of them, whoop!
I got it.
2 of them have a little bit of goat's cheese, but overall, it's not,
love
most of
goat's
mine are,
cheese.
yeah, most of mine are dairy-free. And then the last thing we're gonna add, well, the last 2 things are these guys. So we're gonna do our monk fruit.
Yep.
1 teaspoon.
Now, do you have to specifically measure the monk fruit out, or can you kind of eyeball it?
I would do it, I would measure it out, but here's the beauty of a recipe. You can't take away,
Okay.
but you can always add.
Yeah.
So if you find that you're making this recipe and you're like, oh, I want to add more chocolate, which is what we're going to do today because for the
Right.
sake of Valentine's Day.
Let's all be sweet.
Yeah, so we're going to do the
sweet.
right, it's typically 4 tablespoons, but we're going to do, what do you guys want to do, 5 or 6?
Let's do 5 or 6. I'm into
Okay.
it. I love more chocolate.
You
How
cannot,
about 5.5? Let's just
let's
meet
do
in the
5
middle.
and a half. Do you like chocolate?
I love chocolate.
Okay,
So
Yes.
Good.
More the better.
so
That's great. So with this monk fruit sweetener, while you're
Yeah.
putting in the cacao powder, so you can buy this in powder
any
form
powder
or
form
liquid. I love
or
this
liquid.
liquid.
I drop that in my coffee. That's in my coffee every morning. It's in all of my recipes. It's a way to sweeten your food without adding, again, I don't care about calories, but without adding empty calories.
Sure.
Refined sugar is very inflammatory. And this is, again, it's from a fruit in Asia. And I lost count. Am I at?
Let's just add one more.
Okay, we're
right?
we're gonna add one more.
Who's counting?
Add all the
counting?
chocolate, in my opinion.
Let's just dump the bag. Okay.
I don't even know what day it is.
no.
So let's.
So sometimes, okay, we're gonna mix it up and we're
Okay.
gonna see. These avocados were huge. We might need to add a little more coconut milk, but that's the beauty of this recipe is
I love that.
we're just gonna play with it.
Kitchen noises. Here we go. We're
Yeah.
blending. 3, 2, 1. Let's go on medium.
It's,
Looking good. Sounding good.
Oh yeah.
we got our spoons.
All right. Let's see what this looks like. Probably could blend it a little bit more.
Yeah,
add a
let
little
me
more
see.
coconut milk.
So, yep, so because these bananas were big and the avocados were big, I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm
Just
not
eyeball
gonna
it.
even
Just-
measure it. I'm not gonna even
I'll let
measure
you
it. I'm
go,
just gonna
Laura.
okay. So
Just the holder.
and we're
this
gonna play
looks
with it.
so good.
I play in the kitchen every Sunday. I'm in
Good.
the kitchen. I just have fun with it, and that's the beauty. Cooking is very relaxing, actually. I think it's fun just to
It is
just to
therapeutic.
toss
Yeah.
and taste. Yeah.
All right. Let's blend some more. So what is, well, kitchen noises. What is the consistency that we're looking
So
for?
we're looking for pudding in a cup, pudding in a cup consistency, like the pudding that we all had in our lunches when we
Oh,
were
it
5
looks
years
great.
old. All right, so I'm gonna tell you real quick if we're good.
All right, here we go.
Looks great.
It's good. Because you don't love bananas, we're gonna add a little more monk fruit because these bananas were really big.
Great.
They were.
I wanna make
big
you happy.
avocados, big bananas.
All right, blend that up,
I got it.
Blend
Getting
it up.
crazy this morning.
and then I think we're good.
Oversized fruits.
You know, it's a running joke with my family about my distaste in bananas, but I like recipes that we throw them in, so this is going to be delicious. I can't wait to
I
try
hope
it.
so.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's better chilled, so it tastes better
Got it.
chilled. But
And it probably sets up a little more too when it.
yeah,
when
it does.
It
Okay.
looks great.
So we're gonna go ahead and disperse.
Can't wait to try it. So
Do we have a spoon? Oh.
We've got a spatula here. This
Okay.
is great. I'm going to pull out the blade because, you know, danger in the kitchen. So this is great. It's very much like a cake batter, like
Yeah.
pudding consistency.
Yeah.
And then if you really wanted it to solidify a little bit more, you just put it in the fridge. right?
Yeah. So you stick it in the fridge, and again, you probably can't tell, but it looks like pudding.
It looks great.
So all right, we're gonna
It smells like pudding.
actually. I'm just gonna dump.
Oh my gosh, it looks great.
It looks
Look
like
at that
pudding.
consistency.
Okay.
It's nice
it
and
looks
light.
like pudding. I forgot my raspberry garnish. I apologize. I will tell you right now, my sister's watching, and so she's the one who stages all my food, and she is dying
It's
right
so
now.
nice. You
She's
remember to
dying.
mention your sister.
And my
'cause
sister-in-law
somebody
takes all
else
my pictures.
doesn't remember.
So I will tell you,
to mention their
my
siblings on
passion is for the
TV.
cooking. It's not for the the beauty of it, like the aftermath, is I have a team for that. I'm very blessed with my sister and sister-in-law. So hopefully they're.
Hey, it takes a village to make things happen.
It takes a
right?
village. Okay, hold
It
on.
really
I
does.
don't want you eating after me. All right. Now, all right. I'm sorry if you don't love bananas.
Oh, it looks delicious. I think this recipe is going to be absolutely incredible, so I cannot wait to try it.
All
Awesome.
right, should we cheers?
We
Cheers.
should cheers. Laura, great to have you in the kitchen.
Cheers.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Yes.
Cannot wait to taste this
All right.
pudding.
Let's see.
Everybody at once, so we can't talk. I'll
It's
keep
good,
talking
right?
while you. How is it?
Wow,
Yeah.
I love it. Very delicious. And then you just pop it in the fridge. If
Pop
you
it in
wanted
the
to-
fridge. Do you like it? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I love it. And
Oh.
again, it's fantastic for kids, diabetics, whoever you are. They don't know the avocados are in there. You
That
just-
is pudding.
It
It's
is.
pudding.
And
it's
it's
pudding.
sweet, and it's
you
delicious.
ate so many superfoods in one recipe, 6 ingredients. So
I feel
yeah.
healthier already.
Live Healthy
And I-
with Laura to find the recipe.
Yes.
Anywhere books are sold, you can
And
hop on her website.
The podcast, the Live Healthy with Laura podcast, I do a deep dive on how to cook in the kitchen as well.
That's
for
great.
those that need the confidence.
Well, Laura, love having you
Thanks
here.
for
It's so
having
great
me.
to see friends and family that are
I
paying attention,
know.
watching you take care of your community and others
Yeah.
around you. So really great stuff. Now head over to Laura's website, livehealthywithlaura.com, and her podcast. You can get all of her books, all of her recipes there, but we'll be right back after this. Now Ross is in the kitchen with me again, but this time we're in his domain. He shows me how to switch out my bindings from one board to the next. We're in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
I think we're in your domain
Yeah.
when it comes to being in the kitchen today because we've got some snowboards in front of us and behind us.
Cooking up some binding swapping.
We are, and it's a good time, especially because we haven't really had much powder. So I have been riding my powder board, but I'm ready to switch back to my twin toe.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Show me how to do this, Ross. You
Yeah,
seem to
easy.
be the expert.
Easy. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have a quiver of boards, right? So you can use a powder board and a grooming board, warm weather board. So it's good to have like a quiver. All we're gonna do is we pop these up. We're just gonna take the 4 screws off.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of keep an eye on what you got them on.
So with the
On what kind of degree you want. So
okay, so you can adjust those, correct?
exactly.
Usually I just take it into a tuning shop. and get it
Yeah. So obviously, like everyone's body is different. I don't think people realize that. Like when you snowboard, like everyone's body is different, right? Males and females' bodies are different.
Yep.
So what we're looking for with these bindings is this is just a way that we create some twist and turn in our board.
Okay, cool.
So so it's okay to do it whatever feels kind of comfortable to you. Some people like it a little wider. Obviously, you can get into some trouble here if you kind of make your stance too narrow or too wide, right? So it's okay to kind of individualize it. I get kind of talked to every day. Someone sees my bindings, they're pretty kind of duck-footed out. But that's just how I like it. I like to kind of have a quick response. So all I have to do is kind of lift a toe up or kind of dig a toe in, and I get the
And it
reaction
helps
that I
you-
want from the board.
And it helps you to be a little bit more versatile, right?
For sure.
Directionally.
For
so-
sure. And I like to ride a little bit of switch, so I kind of have mine set up to go both ways, but a lot of people set it up directional, so it's just more made for one way. So it's totally fine. It's kind of what you're interested in. There kind of is a right and a wrong way, but then within that, there's kind of some parameters that you can't really go wrong.
So what would you define as a right and a wrong way?
Yeah, so like the right way is like we're looking for a balanced stance when we're snowboarding, right? Like a nice athletic stance. So if your bindings are set up a little too narrow or a little too open, and you can't find that nice athletic stance, then that's not what we're looking for.
So if you were, let's say you were renting, should you specify that you would like a wider stance, or is it more just kind of a factory settings?
No, I
Grab
think,
the board and go.
yeah, I think you can trust those ski shops out here. They're gonna set you up for success. But what's nice too is like if a lot of people come out for a week or a weekend, and if the board feels a little off one day, you can always take it back into those shops and they can kind of readjust it for you, or ask your nice instructor up on the mountain to do it for you,
Or your co-host.
or your co-host, right? Yeah. So it's pretty simple. It's similar to kind of the waxing. You can do this kind of at night. You can do it in the morning. I usually crack a nice beverage and take over my living room and kind of play with my board.
Or a nice cup of coffee.
Or a nice cup
in
of
the
coffee.
morning.
Exactly. So
Awesome.
yeah, so easy. Nothing too crazy.
That was easy to take off. And so the tricky part with bindings, and every binding brand and set is different, is they've got the foot pad that you've got to pull up.
Right.
And so we had to figure that out.
Right.
And then once you do that, you're home free.
Yeah, so what you kind of want to look for is, this looks like a twin, so it should be fine either way, but I'm going to bet that this is kind of the nose of your board here,
Okay.
right? You
Yeah.
think so? This is the
Yeah,
nose
I
and
would
this
say
is the
so.
tail.
Yep.
So we just want to make sure we're putting the left foot on the nose of your board and the right foot on the tail, right?
That's exactly right.
Pretty straightforward. So we're just going to pick them up as they are, and you're a little bit shorter than me. So I would probably put mine.
5'9" without the cowboy boots.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they have, most snowboards use these kind of screw systems, so you could set it up anywhere in this kind of rail here.
Okay.
So if it's a little wide, you could bring it in.
So let's say if you didn't have a powder board and you were just riding one singular board, so on a powder day you could set them a little bit farther back.
Exactly. So especially a powder board, you kind of want your back foot as far back as it can go almost.
Okay.
So that way we're kind of leaning on that back foot or more pressure on the back foot.
It
And
gives you a little less work to do.
a little less work to do, and that pressure on the back foot pops the nose of the board up. So in that powder, that's really important, right? So
Awesome.
we're keeping our nose of the board up and not getting stuck. Hopefully you have some skier friends that can help you out if you do need. But it's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Stick with the snowboard gang. Just kidding. I like skiers. as well.
It's seriously just a joke. It's really more of a joke than anything.
I feel like the animosity between skiers and snowboarders is starting to dissipate.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody's accepting, and if you love the snow sports period,
100%.
You're in the club together.
Now it's more like those snow bikes, right?
Yes,
We're looking at those guys a little funny, and the people on the snow skates, those kind of skateboards, we're looking at them a little funny. So.
I don't know about the snow skates. They kind of scare me a bit. Especially the little mini blades that look like roller blades. But
Oh, yeah, I got a
might
pair
try
of
them
those.
one day.
Yeah.
How are they?
They're so much fun. Very
to know.
terrifying. There's no surface area on those, so they're very difficult to stop.
If you're going down, you're going down.
You're going, yeah. So I mainly stick to the greens and a couple blues with those, but
That's great.
But yeah, this is a nice athletic stance for you, a little open, and
So you mentioned you ride duck-footed. Do you switch your bindings at all when you're riding in powder?
no, I should. I really should. But I like to set my board up. I'm an all-mountain rider. I like to ride in trees. So mine's kind of set up for everything.
Cool.
And again, I like to ride switch, so I could really turn my board either way, and it's going to perform the exact same way. So
Great.
kind of depends what you're looking for. But yeah, some days I'm out there, and pretty much every powder day I'm out there, and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to set it back tonight. I'm going to set it back. I'm going to move it back.
And never do.
Get in the back foot a little bit, and then I just never end up doing it. So can't really go wrong. What's really cool too is a lot of the lifts out there on our mountains have these kind of screwdriver tools that you need. So if it's a small little tweak, you can always stop by a lift while you're out there.
Awesome.
And kind of tighten things up, or you could even change your whole setup if you needed to.
That's great.
A little more difficult with the conditions out there, but that looks pretty good. So that's a left foot binding.
Awesome.
We'll get the other one on for you.
Now, when I ride my twin tip, I actually like to do a little bit of a duck foot stance as well.
You do good,
I do.
yeah. So the trick is you never go over 30 degrees. So
Okay.
if your front foot's at, say, like 12 degrees, then you keep that back foot kind of within that 30-degree region, so like an 18. I wouldn't
Okay.
recommend an 18 and a 12. I do a 15 and a 15, which is a little much. But a lot of people really kind of like that 12 degree kind of angle, which you got here. So.
And if people don't quite understand, there's obviously the degree settings inside.
Yeah,
the binding.
exactly. So inside the binding has the degree setting here. So you're at about that looks like a 9 or a 6, depending on which way I'm looking at it. So that's pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, everyone's foot's kind of different, so it's kind of what you're comfortable with.
And you can, if you're doing this at home, you can take it off and kind of play with it and
Yeah,
see what you like.
highly recommend kind of standing in it. Put it on the carpet floor and stand in it and feel it out, see what it feels like. But yeah,
Always
this is
fun to watch people play with tools and make things work.
yeah. So as a snowboard instructor up at Beaver Creek, I do this quite often with students, right? So they rent a board and something's a little off. So I'm always kind of touching bindings and getting them set up for success. because at the end of the day, that's what we want.
It's true. And, I have some friends that are learning how to snowboard, and
Good.
they keep saying their feet are set up differently. So I tell them they just need to go adjust their bindings and try it. Try it and see what works for them. But really, I think it's just a matter of committing to the toasted
Definitely.
edge.
And keep an eye out, especially in the spring. There's a lot of demo days, so you can kind of go test out a snowboard and some new bindings. And then if you really like them, then you go ahead and pull the trigger and you buy them. So that's kind of a pro tip on kind of getting gear, is to demo it first, right?
That's exactly right.
Feel it out. I've always wanted to demo those Burton step-on bindings.
I have my eye on them, but I demoed these bindings at the end of last season.
Yeah.
So I'm committed to these for now.
And if you haven't gotten new bindings in a while, the technology is always progressing. So things are getting lighter, which is amazing. So it doesn't take as much force, right, to kind of make your board do what you want. It's a lot lighter and reacts a little bit quicker. So
Awesome.
binding technology, it's always changing. Like we mentioned, those step-ons are pretty impressive. So just like that, easy,
Yeah,
pretty
easy.
simple.
Pretty simple.
Nothing crazy. You can kind of click your foot back down. Then we had fun unlocking.
Awesome. Well, this looks like it's ready to go shred in this wintry
Yeah.
mix that we've got coming in this afternoon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ross, thanks for educating me
Yeah.
on the best way to set up my bindings and how to do it. I appreciate that.
I love it. I love cooking snowboards in the kitchen with you.
I think that's our best recipe yet.
Yes, yes.
But we do have one more in the second hour, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. It's wintertime, and you know what that means? You're probably watching a little bit more TV and movies than you normally do. Kevin had a conversation with the cast of the film Bosco. Let's take a look.
Well, now we've got a great series coming in, an unbelievable story that's on Peacock. And we've got the star of that show coming in to talk a little bit about how that show originated and really a lot of what is going on there, because there's so many different levels that this show can hit on. So welcome to the show. Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, I'm doing
morning.
great. I tell you, when I look at Bosco and that story, unbelievable. I mean, the whole premise behind the prison escape and what went behind that with getting out. But the story goes much deeper than that. It talks, it's about someone not growing up without a father. It's about just the life in general. And I love one of the lines in the story where freedom is a state of mind. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's more than just about it. The backstory is more than just about a guy growing up without a father. It's a guy who's determined to be a father and to get home to his unborn child so that he can be such. And freedom is a state of mind because it's something that you find within. And I found it in solitary confinement. Sometimes it's about digging deep down inside and finding your meaning and purpose and using and doing what you can for the sake of humanity, where you find your meaning and purpose. And that's, to me, that's freedom.
Absolutely. And relentless it's not even a term that really defines what happened here. Escaping a prison, enduring everything that goes on. And let's not even mention right now the possession charge, which now with marijuana is legal in a majority of the states. So a possession like that, being put in prison and fighting back.
Yeah, prison for 35 years for something that is pretty much essentially legal in most states across the United States. It was a heartbreaking experience. I persevered. It was fuel and determination, and it motivates me today to use my voice and my experience to help prevent other people from going through that.
So what are you doing now with that, with what you endured and what you went through? How are you out there today expressing your voice even more beyond this film? Because I know you're such a passionate person. How are you going out there and expressing to others what you went through and how to get through some of the sufferings maybe they're enduring right now?
I think the message that I want to give out there is to show people what I've been through, but also to show people what I'm doing now, and to show how, when given an opportunity, many people who are in prison or who come from underprivileged communities can actually do something great. And I want to be that light. I want to be that inspiration to people from those communities and people from other communities who can help lend a hand to support people from such communities.
Yeah, to hear that there's life after prison, a lot of people, when they're incarcerated, going through this, maybe they've given up. And this is such a wonderful message to leave. There is something more. There is something out there. What did you have to do as far as your role in writing the script and participating in everything that went on to deliver that message of what you went through?
Phone calls, talking with this guy here and the director while I was in prison, and this bonding so that they can understand my passion and my vision. And they made it easy for me. I mean, this is the next Denzel Washington right here.
Yep.
And so he pretty much took it and ran with it.
So what did you do when you got that? When you got the phone calls and it had to hit hard to your heart. How did you transcribe those conversations into what we're seeing on the screen?
I think, anytime you're playing somebody that actually lived through something, there's a lot of responsibility there. So my biggest thing was just making sure that I really focused on the impact that having a daughter meant to him, and how inspired he was to get out just to be there in her life, because it's something that he didn't really have growing up, and that's something that I can relate to as well. But other than that, Bosco made it super easy for me because he trusted me from the jump. He really showed me that I had all of his trust, and that he wanted me to play the role. So that made it a little bit more easy for me, and I'm really happy with what we got done.
And Aubrey, you really have to feel about that trust, because I'm sure from Bosco's standpoint, there wasn't a lot of trust to give at that point. Everything that he endured, probably the trust bucket was empty. And to give you that trust is unbelievable. So what a monumental task and way to deliver it for Peacock on this.
It meant the world. It meant the world. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for joining us this morning in Vail, Colorado, telling the story, and I'm going to have all the viewers tune into Peacock to see this unbelievable, just mind-blowing, very emotional series and show that you've got coming out. So you're going to have a lot of people cheering you on for years to come. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
From dogs and snowboard bindings and talking in the kitchen and more, we had a great Saturday edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'm Kimberly Perot, and I'll see you next time.